Hello, and you're here watching another episode of That's So Bizarre. I'm your host, Becky Porcho, and here today we have Angela DIBuono. She is a Lady Gaga impersonator. Isn't that cool that I have a Lady Gaga impersonator in my home? So she has been telling us ghost stories, and this is episode 3 of the Lady Gaga Angela DIBuono interview. So tell us where we were. Where
We left off
Uh-huh.
where we decided to stop renting the apartment.
Okay. And you're going to a house.
And go to a house. And kind of get out of those paranormal experiences as well.
Right. Because she was having some freaky experiences, noises like footsteps and pots banging in the apartment she was staying in. Music playing like randomly really loud. So
out of nowhere.
Yeah. So now she's talking about she's with her boyfriend and you're looking for a house.
Right. We decided to search for houses and set a date to get married. So let me gear up.
Look at she's a pro. We could co-host this show.
Yes. Because I'm so bizarre.
Aren't we all, honey?
Okay. So now we had a realtor friend and we all went together. There was like an entourage of us. And we decided to go to this one particular house that was vacant due to a death. So we go into this house. And, at first, all the men went in and the realtor went in. And the realtor's daughter, her and I, were just kind of like looking at the outside. And we were like the last to go into the house.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as we both stepped foot in the foyer area, right just in the doorway, we both looked at each other, but just like one of those. And we didn't say anything.
Right.
So then we proceeded. The men went towards the right of the house, which was the living area. Her and I went towards the left, where the bedrooms were.
Okay.
So we looked at the bed. There was 3 bedrooms. So we looked at the individual bedrooms. When we got into the master suite, apparently it was a man. I mean, his pictures were on. We were looking in the closets, as most people, when they're looking for houses, look at closet space. Right. And we open up the closet door, and it's all his stuff. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, can I show you?
Sure.
Okay. Out of nowhere, from behind, this is the feeling. I was like,
are you kidding me?
We were being squished to death, where we could not breathe.
Both of you?
Both of us.
So you felt like you were being squeezed.
Felt like there was arms wrapped around me, and I was like, holy. And I looked at her, and she looked at me, and it was like Ethel and Lucy or something, trying to get out of the door together.
Yeah, right.
I mean, a 3-foot doorway. And they heard us running down the hall, and then everybody came out, and they're like, we're going in the basement. We're like, we're going outside. There's a spirit in this house. He's not happy. He doesn't want us here.
Wow.
We're out of here. And it's funny because that friend of mine, she, her name's Antoinette. She reads tarot cards.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And her family's very spiritual. So her and I just bolted out the door, and that was the end of that. So now I finally find the house. So we found the house. And I had
found a house.
We found a house that didn't have any bad vibes.
Right.
So somewhere within a year's worth of time, I had gotten a job. I have a cosmetology license, so I had gotten a job for Shiseido Cosmetics at the mall. And it's ironic because my mother used to use Shiseido. Not entirely, but little things here and there. Right. And one of the perfumes she used to wear by them was called Zen, Z-E-N. And it was like this god-awful, woodsy, nasty smell. Sorry, Mom, but it was horrible. And because I always used to go dabble with her makeup and her perfumes and her clothes, and I used to even put on my dad's ties. Sorry, Dad. I'm free to find out this out now. But yes, I used to put his ties on and his dress shirts. And I used to love playing dress up with my parents' stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Well, we go to the mall. I go to the mall one day for work. And I'm looking at the bottle. It's one bottle in the case, locked up. And I said to the girl, I said, my mom used to wear that perfume. And she's like, really? I said, yeah. She's like, well, that's our last bottle and we don't have a sample. I said, because I wanted to smell it again to just
Right.
remember my
Right.
mom. Well, I go home.
Mm-hmm.
I open my front door. Nobody's home. My entire house reeked of this smell. And I wasn't sure if it was that perfume or not.
Right.
And I'm literally, every room, I'm like, oh my God. It literally, it was so intense, the odor, and so strong. And it wasn't anything of, my fiance slash husband now. It was cologne, because he had like just a couple. And I went in the bathroom and I smelled his cologne, and it was not his cologne. It was this specific nasty woodsy odor. I go to work the next day and I said, that's it. I told the girl, I said, are you spiritual? Because some people are just weird about it.
Right, right.
She says, oh, absolutely. I said, I told her the experience. She got the key. She opened the case. We had to take the plastic off the brand new box and open up the bottle. She squirts it. I just started bursting out in tears and crying my eyes out. I'm like, my mother was in my house. Oh my God. And then she's crying and I'm crying and we're on the job and we had to, clean up, dry up. And I could not believe it. I could not believe it at all. Like, that was like totally insane.
So some ghosts make smells. I hear that every once in a while. I've heard that a couple of times. And that's, you don't usually hear that when you hear of a haunting.
Right.
Wow.
So a friend of mine, I had gotten out of the cosmetology field and went into the medical field. And that girl's mom died. And her and I were going to pool money together. Who was the spiritualist? Man, I can't think of his name. He was on TV.
Edwards, John Edwards.
John Edwards.
Yeah.
We were going to save our money and get John Edwards to come and do a medium exercise or something with us. Right. But it never transpired.
Right.
Years later, I moved to Florida. And my first house that I purchased, we sold and built a new house. Well, with that, a couple came by to look at the house. We were doing it by owner, so I was in full control of who was coming to look at my house. And the woman walks in and she's like, I got a really good vibe about this house. And I was like, not everybody says that.
Right.
So I'm like really comfortable with these people. They're from Jersey, the husband's Italian, so we just, one thing leads to another. We get into these talks. They're buying the house for their daughter.
Okay.
And her name is Trisha. And the woman says to me, she says, we're taking this house. We're buying this house for her. And I said, oh my God, that's wonderful.
Right.
And she turns to me and she says, I need to tell you something. And she says,
oh my gosh,
my daughter is a medium. And I'm like, say what?
Yeah.
Like thinking like, okay, a large, a medium, a small. Just to kind of like think like, okay, whatever. Yeah. But I knew exactly what she was talking about. I mean, I actually just wanted to joke about it.
Right.
She's like, no, she communicates with the dead. And I said, she goes, does that bother you or scare you? She says, I think you and her will get along fine and probably become best friends. Sure enough, we got along. We became best friends. And she would tell me things about my mom that no one would possibly know.
Wow.
No one. And that my mother's spirit kept going to her. My mother was a dominating woman. She was a strong, independent, tough girl. And she decided that we were going to have this mediumship. And that's what she calls it. I call it a seance, per se.
Right.
So we go to a friend's house. There's about 5 of us.
And wait.
Oh.
We're going to do another. We're going to break. And we are going to start a new episode coming right after this. I'm here with Lady Gaga Impersonator Angela DIBuono. And she's telling us some amazing, wonderful stories. I'm glad you guys are here. Please join us for the next episode. Thank you very much. And remember, don't stop believing.